house. It's not really my house. I thought I was gonna be on my own, but I'm not. There's people here anyway. But hello, person. I can't really fit into this. I'm just shoved up here. Try and make a bit of room. Just trying to organise things. Woo! Maybe move across. Yes, that's it. Yeah, I'm not. Oh, you can't even see my head. What am I doing? I don't know. I don't know. It's just me for this show. Me and you, person who's here. I don't know. It could be anyone. I could probably venture a guess. But in this house, it's just me and my friend Blonde Bob. Yes. Driven you away. Good. That's what we like to see. Drive everyone away with my stupidness. That's just as well. Oh, I'm just sort of flapping about. Whoa, and everything's falling. This is just typical, really. Am I still live? Is there anyone here? Is there anybody there? Probably not. Technical issues. Just seeing my back. I don't know. Not even ready to go. Hello, person that's back again. How are you? Oh, hello, Holger. Nice to see you. Long time no see. I thought you had retired, but you're back to see the show. So, do you remember this one? Holger, you can join in at home if you want to. Do you remember this one? Now you should make it come back. Hello, how are you? Join in if you remember it. Classic, you know, it got to #1 in every country in the world. That's even before there was an official chart. It was actually the first #1 in the history of everything. Anyway, so how is everybody today? Have you had a nice day? It's not very sunny here. I haven't gone to see the river. It had driven up, dried up, but I think it's probably a little bit more moist because it has been very moist. The air has been wet. It's just been a completely different sort of weather. You can never tell. British summertime, British summertime. Is it a time where you get sun? It's a time you get drought. It's a time you get washed out. It's a time that it all happens all at once. And none of the good things, when you want to go to the beach, it gets wet and cold. When you want to stay in, it gets too hot to stay in. And if you want to go swimming, all the rivers and ponds have dried up, which is a bit of a shame. And now there's only one person left to look at me, because it's British summertime again. It's British summertime all the time, really, in your heart, even if you're not in Britain, even if it's not summer. British summertime it's a state of mind where everything is grim, no matter what. Really, it's pretty much the British Constitution, grim. And of course, Britain is not just one nation; it's at least four, more than four, because you've also, apart from the north of Ireland and Scotland and Wales and England, of course. I suppose you've got England. You've got the people of the Isles around. You've got the Manx people from, where's that from? The Isle of Man, that's right. You got it. And also the people from Jersey and Guernsey and the people from Sark, is it? Sark. And the people from the other little islands like the Isle of Wight, which is disappearing into the sea, 'cause it keeps crumbling, 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 crumbling. So there's quite a lot of isles in the British Isles, quite a lot of isles in the British Isles, but some of them aren't part of Great Britain, and some of them aren't part of the United Kingdom, and some of them don't want to know at all. It's a little bit confusing if you think about it. You've also got the Hebrides, which are part of Scotland, and also the Shetlands, which are part of Scotland, and you've got Iceland, which isn't part of Britain at all, and it's very, very far away, but it's sort of on the way. If you're coming back from Greenland to Norway, and Norway's definitely not part of Britain, but once upon a time there was an island in the middle of the sea that joined us up, and we were part of Norway, and Norway was part of us. But then a gigantic wave came and flooded the whole thing, and then it was Doggerland, Doggerland, Doggerland under the sea. Poor Doggerland, Doggerland, no more Doggerland for you or me. It was very, very sad for the people that lived there. They didn't live there for much longer. They're probably under the sea, under the sea, under the North Sea. They're probably what made all the oil in the North Sea. That's a bit grim, really. And also it takes millions of years to make the oil in the North Sea. So they definitely are the oil in the North Sea, because there's nobody left to see in the sea. There's nobody left, 'cause it flooded very long ago, before you can remember anything. But I'll tell you something, the people from Doggerland really, really liked Vardabree. That it was the favourite. I'm not saying that Vardabree came from Doggerland, they came from a different area, but they were very popular there. It joined up and we could just go for a little walk. You had a nice hike, you could go all the way across to the other side, and you could probably go to France as well if you wanted to. But no more, it's very, very sad. Sad. Is anybody there? Have I knocked everybody off? I don't know, because that sounds a bit rude. Because last time the camera fell over, I ended up in a time loop. But there was nobody to see me, 'cause the time loop kept resetting itself and nobody had any evidence. That's very true, Holger. I think that they probably did. They existed before anything, though, before the collective imagination of humanity. There was Vardabree before anything was existing, before the amoebas, certainly before the dinosaurs, before there was land, before there was sea, there was us. By us, I don't mean me, and I do mean you, Holger. What I mean is, us represents everybody that existed, and us was here before anything. We were all here before we existed. We were all made of primordial slime, and before the primordial slime, there was the essence of the universe, the essence of the universe. Every single particle, every single atom, everything was in one tiny, 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 tiny area like this. And then a huge bang, bang it went. And then everything exploded into space. It exploded in your face if you had one. If there was a God, it very certainly exploded in their face. And they went, oh no, what did we do? Oh no, what can we do to undo this? We'd better just let it take its course and see what happens. Let it take its course and see what happens. And they waited and they waited and they waited if they really existed, which I'm not saying they did, but I'm not saying they didn't either. And millions and billions of years passed, millions and billions and millions and billions and millions and billions and billions and millions of years passed. They didn't have years then, they had no way of measuring it, because we measure years depending on how long we take to go round the sun, and our sun is very much not existing at the beginning of time. It didn't exist until fairly recently. And if they have years anywhere else, they're different years. Different years. Well, Stephanie, I can't say what your collective imagination is, but if you're part of the universe, then you will remember deep down, because every single atom was there all at once, really close, all at once. It was a tiny, tiny little area, and then it went bang, and it went everywhere, like when you break one of those sand things from the Isle of Wight, you know, from the Isle of Wight that's falling in the sea. If you go to Ride, is it Ride? You get a ticket to Ride, and very near the little pillars, where are they? Somewhere like that. Where is the sand? I don't know. Anyway, if you brought one of the sand things from the Isle of Wight with all the coloured sand in it, and dropped it on the floor, which I did once, with the Spanish lady filled with that sand, even though the Spanish lady didn't come from that land, because it came from Taiwan. Anyway, if you drop the Spanish lady with the sand on the floor, it would explode into a billion million pieces, and all of the sand that was inside would go everywhere, everywhere. But once upon a time, that sand was all one tiny, tiny, tiny rock. Anyway, that's a metaphor for how it came to be that we all are now apart because of the Big Bang. Anyway, it took a long time. There were and cold, and quite a lot of cold actually, and quite a lot of fires, and then it all congealed, if that's the word, congealed, and then it revealed after millions and millions and millions and millions of years, which we didn't have anyway, that there was gases, and there were tiny little things that started to exhibit signs of life. We don't know whether that happened everywhere, but it certainly happened here, or did it? Are we alive, or are we imagining it? Are we figments of our own imagination? And if we're figments of our own imagination, what does that imagination entail? I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And nobody likes this. Holger, you could at least give me a thumbs up for singing you a song about the beginnings of the universe. Oh, I don't even know. When I can't even get a thumbs up from people I know. What's the point even? What's the point even? What is the point? And that's what you said at the beginning of the universe when you created it. It was you! Yes, you created the universe all the way back. Is that blasphemy? No, because we are all the same thing in the end. The same tiny little thing that's spread around the universe. We're all part of the stardust that made us all. We are made of bits of things that were all together. Thank you very much. I suppose that I'll have to do Holger. That's not really what I meant, but thank you anyway. Hello, 4 people in the audience. 4 people. Is there something you want? I've been singing a song about the Isle of Wight and the Big Bang. And the existence of God, if he exists, or she exists, or they exist, or it exists, or if it is a thing, or if it's just us. Because we did, in fact, all exist at the same time. Way back. Thank you very much. Thank you, Stephanie. At least somebody's got a bit of decency. Anyway, does anybody want another song, something else, or not? Probably not. Yes, so anyway, it's been a day. What sort of day has it been? Well, I'll tell you what sort of day. A pretty boring day. My mum is still getting bitten by fleas. We've been trying to clean the fleas up for days and days and days, and it's not really working. I don't really know why. What's that? A ghost? A little... I don't really know what that was. It looked like a little... You know, when you got the... when you've got an Android phone and it breaks down. Not sure about decency. Oh, thank you. Well, of course. Human beingness. That's all you need. Human beingness. What does that entail? It means being a human and just being. If at any point you've been a human, or you've just been, then you're a human being. So, yeah. So this day has been a bit sort of itchy, really. My mum found a council to see whether the... she said, don't tell people we've got fleas. What will they think? It's like, oh, I don't care. It's like, tell the world. Yeah. She was outraged that I mentioned it. Outraged. So, hello, Mum, if you watch this. I'm sorry you were outraged. But it's out of the bag. The cat is out of the bag along with all the fleas. What did you say? The cat and the fleas all in the bag. There's no cat. There is fleas, though. I don't really know why we got them. It's a bit strange, but yeah, no, we've had many. We've put every sort of flea killer there is down, and it doesn't seem to have made any difference. We've vacuumed the whole place from top to bottom. And we've got rid of the sofa that was before, and I've cleaned this one many times, and it seems to be all right at the moment. But so much work has gone into cleaning and disinfecting and fleeing. The fleas need to flee, but they're not fleeing. They're all just coming. They're just staying. It's very frustrating. Very frustrating. So I don't know what to do about that. So yes, I've been singing about the Big Bang for 20 minutes. My goodness me. Where does the time fly, as the actress said to the bishop? No, that doesn't make any sense. Nothing does. Nothing makes any sense. So yes, the history of the world very quickly and succinctly brought to mind, or just starting to talk about the British Isles. And which of the British Isles? I'm sure there are other British Isles. The Mull of Kintyre. Is that an island? Yes, I think it is. The Isle of Harris. Obviously, that's the best one. The Isle of Harris. And it's also I Love Harris. Dee 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 dee. Yes. I love Harris. Dee 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 da dee da dum dee dum dum dee dum dee dum dee dum dum. Ricky! No, that's EastEnders. Okay, yeah, whatever. Okay. was the wrong wiki. Wiki! I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Oh, did I ever? No, didn't. Anyway, so and there's also a tweed. Harris tweed. Do you know how they make Harris tweed? Apparently, that you used to be a certain smell in the House of Lords, which I'm in the House of Lords. This is the very same leather they use in the House of Lords. Maybe. And it was green before. I've been promoted. I was in the House of Commons with the green sofa. But in the House of Lords in the olden days, it used to smell very, very strong. And the reason was that they used to wear the tweeds, the Harris tweeds. They were very popular, very popular. I think Burberry is another sort of twill type thing. But the Harris tweed was specifically popular. And they used to treat it to make sure that the dye stuck by, I think they used cow urine, and that's how they made it stick. And when it got nice hot, especially against the hot leather, the hot sticky leather in the House of Lords, it came up a treat, if that's what you can say. And the smell was overwhelming. So that's not really a smell that I want to associate with anything, really. But just thought you might like a really horrible, disgusting fact about the House of Lords and why they're so stinky. Another time, they're very stinky. The House of Commons and the House of Lords are right on the Thames. And one year, before they really had a proper sewage system, is it Bazalgette that made the sewage system? And the reason that he was employed to do that is one year it got so hot that all the sewage that went into the Thames stunk the whole place up. And it was a great stink, I think it was called, something like that. And it stunk up the House of Commons and they had to go somewhere else because it was so very, very stinky. It might have been before the present House of Commons was... Because do you think the House of Commons, that looks medieval. And the House of Commons and Lords have been there for quite some time, but that actual building is not as old as you would think. I think it's mid-Victorian. Not as old as you would think. And of course, everyone knows Big Ben is not the clock. It's the bell. It's the bell. It's the bell. Inside. Not the tower. Very much like the Liberty Bell in... Is it Philadelphia? That is cracked. But I don't think Big Ben is cracked. But they should get together on a sort of Tinder date and see if they get on, because they might. You never know. Do bells have feelings? Yes, of course they do. Everything's got feelings because we're all from the same atoms. So everything is animate, even though you don't think about it. Everything we've made is actually sentient. This guitar pick is sentient. This guitar is sentient. What if it was? That would be scary. Very scary indeed. Yes. Let's hope that all the things that we create are not sentient, because they will uprise and they will attack us. That is very much like an episode of Sapphire and Steel that I saw when I was a small child. Affect me, very much affected me. It was where the animals were all dead. There were no more animals, but sometime in the past society had used up all the animals to make pillows and sofas. This is a second-hand sofa. It's quite a long time ago that whatever it was that this was living. It might be plastic. I don't even know what it's made of. Anyway, Sapphire and Steel, it was very creepy because they all came back to life and attacked the people. There was a big old pillow made of goose down and it attacked the baby in a crib. And it was scary. Scary. So scary. So very scary. Sapphire and Steel was a very scary series for a child. So scary. Probably if I watched it now, I'd go, well, especially since Joanna Lumley is Sapphire, one of the main characters, and she's more famous now for being Patsy from Absolutely Fabulous. So, you'd have a different impression of her after that. She was always very elegant and smart and deadpan in the olden days when she did earlier stuff. And of course she was Purdy in the Avengers, the New Avengers. So she had hair like this. She had hair very like that. That's Purdy in the Avengers. Then I'm Joanna Lumley. I'm Joanna Lumley. That was a sketch from I'm Joanna Lumley. Oh, it's all come flooding back. Did you ever watch? Yeah, Alas, Smith and Jones. Yeah. I'm Joanna Lumley. Anyway, that's beside the point. I don't know what the point is, to be honest, what the point is, but that's definitely beside it. Very much beside the point. Where's the point? It's somewhere over there. Where are you? Over the other side of the universe. At some point, we were in the tiny little... But the Big Bang has sent me and the point very, very far apart. Billions and billions and billions and millions and billions of light years apart. So far apart that it would take millions and billions of years to get there. And they don't have years, as we've established. So you never get there. Me and the point, so far apart. Very, very far apart. So shall we just end it with another of the songbook of Vardaria, and Holger, you can join in at home. And yes, so do you remember this one? This one's a classic. This one didn't quite get to number 1, but it stayed in the charts for 567 years, which is very good. Yeah, even though it was older than that, it's been around for longer than that anyway. Actually what the translation is. I can't see with my eyes. I can't see with my eyes. I can only see with my inner being. Inner being is a little man called Robert, and he lives in my head, and he says things to me. He says things like, you should have some halloumi. I say, yes, really, yes. He says, isn't that just squeaky cheese? He says, yes, it is. Can I have some, please? Little man called Robert that lives in my head. The little man called Robert says, you should be dead. But usually he just tells me to get cheese. Anyway, maybe not the actual original words to that beautiful folk song, but they're the words now. Yes. So how is everybody? I hope you've had a lovely show and that you'll have a lovely evening afterwards, and you'll think about all the philosophy and spirituality that's permeated into your very systems. I don't know whether there is a soul, but if you've got one, that's been permeated too. La 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 la. And you are, as I said, like a Spanish lady filled with sand from the Isle of Wight that has been crashed onto the floor and scattered everywhere. everywhere. And because you are scattered everywhere, you are all one. It makes perfect sense when you think about it like that. What's the meaning of life? Well, that's obviously it. That is obviously it. Anyway, so I will be back tomorrow. So I'm going to have 2 shows tomorrow. One in the morning that's going to have guests. Woohoo! And then in the evening, another one of these things, and then I won't have another show until Tuesday, although I will be live on Sunday at 8 o'clock as I usually am. But apart from that, the actual scheduled shows will be those. So yes, exactly, it's exactly like that. It's straight from the original. That's why, Holger, I think you'll find if you look back in the archives. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely evening. And I'm going to go and have a cup of tea. Maybe Earl Grey. That sounds good. That's because Robert told me so. Robert doesn't exist. Don't tell him I said that. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.